Hello, WHS, and welcome to your BDTV Announcements. I'm your host, Gabby Scipione. Attention, AP students. If you have not registered and paid for your AP exam online through both Total Registration and College Board's sites, the deadline to do so is November 1st. See Ms. Kowalski's previous emails for instructions and reach out to her ASAP if you have any questions. There will be a virtual interest meeting for any student interested in participating in the fall play on Monday, October 19th at 3 p.m. If you would like to attend this meeting, please fill out the Google form by Friday, October 16th. The form can be found on Mr. Devlin's website, and a link will be emailed out prior to the meeting. Any student, grades 9 to 12, who is interested in trying out for the Blue Devil bowling team will need to attend the WebEx virtual sign-up meeting on Tuesday, October 20th. The meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. A parent is required to attend the meeting with you. Please see Coach Corey or email him directly for information regarding the sign-up meeting and the bowling program. A WebEx link will be provided prior to the sign-up meeting. WHS Athletics has had a great week. We go to Theo Shapiro for your Blue Devil sports update.
Thanks, Gabby. Welcome to the second sports update on BDTV. I'm your host, Theo Shapiro. Now let's see what our teams were able to do this week. First, over the weekend, the football team had a rough start to the season in a 20-3 loss against St. Joe's. On Monday, the boys soccer team beat Summit 2-0. The goals were scored by Max Rockstar and Andreas Gieser. On Tuesday, sadly, the girls lost 1-0 to Scotch Plains. Field hockey played yesterday and they won 3-1 versus Columbia. Two of the goals were scored by Julia Shugru and one of them was scored by Emma Jepson. Now, the upcoming games. Girls soccer plays today at Governor Livingston at 4 o'clock. The boys soccer plays at Plainfield today, and Saturday they play home versus Glen Ridge for Senior Day. Finally, the football team plays Friday night at Bridgewater, and Bridgewater is going to want their revenge against us. All right, thank you for coming out today and listening to the second sports update on BDTV. And now back to Gabby.
Thanks, Theo. Westfield High School has always had some truly great administrators. This week, we introduce you to our second administrator, one of our vice principals, Mr. Warren Hines.
I am an assistant principal, one of our 3 assistant principals at the high school. My favorite thing about WHS is when we come together as a community to try to learn from each other and to grow as not just a community, but to help our world to become a stronger place. In my spare time, I love to go running. I bike ride. I also really like reading. I like to watch movies with my family. Spending time in general with family is something that was kind of a cliche for many of us when we would be asked that question in the past. But these past 7 months have shown, I think, a lot of families how to do that again. You know, I loved being a teacher and still do. What I find about being an assistant principal is instead of trying to set the culture and climate and be a leader for one class of 20 to 25, you're trying to do that work for a whole school of 1,900. I made the decision that I thought my skill set as a leader was strong enough that I'd like to try and make that carryover from being a leader to trying to be a leader for a full school. And when that goes well and you can see your impact making a dent in the lives of students, it feels like you had a pretty good day's work.
We are happy to have Mr. Hines in the studio today. Welcome, Mr. Hines.
Hi, Gabby. Thanks for having me.
What has been the hardest part about organizing this school year?
This school year has been the hardest year that I've ever been a part of. I think for teachers, for administrators, for everyone, just figuring out a way to work through this pandemic in a way that provides like a great education experience for everyone. It's just a lot of organizing, a lot of listening to one another, a lot of caring about one another, and a lot of really paying attention to our public health requirements. So it has been extraordinarily hard.
Now, if you could go back and tell yourself one thing in March, what would it be?
I think the most important thing is to know that this will pass, but we don't get to decide when it passes. And I think, you know, in March I was thinking, oh yeah, in another month or in another 2 months, but that's not the way a pandemic works. And so I think I'm at a point now where I recognize that I just have to kind of work through this day by day in ways for myself and for others. to help each other and to help myself kind of deal with it. But I don't get to decide when that's all going to end.
Thank you, Mr. Hines.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
The new one-way hallways have forced students to adjust to a new method of walking the halls. Will Oleg spoke with students about what they thought about this change in this week's Student Views segment.
For this week's Student Views, we asked kids around the school what their opinions were about the new hallway traffic. Here's what they said.
I definitely think hallway traffic is an inconvenience. I know definitely I walk into the school and my math class is to the left, but I have to go all the way around. And that takes some time.
The new hallways have been a real pain for me and all my friends and everyone that has to walk around the hallways. I've actually been late to a couple classes.
The one-way hallways are really inconvenient and also really awkward. I feel like it shouldn't take me 10 minutes to get to my class. I'd rather get there in 2 minutes.
Tell teachers yeah, I got lost in the hallways, not because it's difficult to understand. It's just they're so inconvenient on where I want to go.
It's also really late in my high school career to be having to be walking around in the hallways 50 different times in circles, trying to just get to one room right in front of me.
It's a little weird, but I definitely think it's not that hard to adjust to, and you get used to it pretty quickly.
Thanks, Will. For most people, the promise of pumpkin spice and pretty color leaves is the best time of year. Westfield is very lucky to have a lot of fall activities take place nearby without having to drive too far. We now go to Pat Cunningham to tell us about some of these fun-filled fall activities.
With Halloween right around the corner and fall in full swing, we compiled a fun list of places to go and fun activities to do during the fall before it becomes too cold. Whiteman Farms. Just a 30-minute drive away from Westfield, Whiteman Farms is a great place to escape your house for a few hours on the weekend. It opens on Sundays and Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and families can participate in all kinds of fun activities, including a large apple-picking orchard, where families receive a reusable tote bag to store all the apples they pick. With free parking as the whipped cream on top, this farm is a high-value destination for this season's fall activities. Ort Farms. A 45-minute drive, Ort Farms also provides a wide variety of fun things to do, but one of their biggest attractions is their massive pumpkin picking field. With sizes small to large and orange as far as the eye can see, this is a great place to pick up your family's jack-o'-lanterns for this year and to get carving. Hollowfest. Six Flags has changed Fright Fest to Hollowfest this year. It will last from September 18th to November 1st, from 2 to 10 p.m. on Saturdays and Sundays 5 to 5 p.m. To disclose time on Fridays, you can find out on the website. Attendance will be limited and reserved for each guest, so buy it quickly and you will get a 50% discount on your ticket. A one-day ticket can be purchased for $30. There are plenty of things to do with mazes, rides, shows, and at night is when the true scare begins.
Thanks, Pat. In addition to those fall activities, Apple Fest, sponsored by the Westfield Historical Society, is still on this Saturday. Pre-registration is required, and more information can be found at www.westfieldhistoricalsociety.org. That is all the time we have for today. Thank you for tuning into this episode of your weekly announcements. Follow us on Instagram or Twitter at WHS BDTV. I'm Gabby Scipione, reminding you to wash your hands and stay safe.